Welcome to the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insights podcast series, where we address challenges and ideas for early stage and entrepreneurial business leaders. Your host today is Dave Coffaro, President and CEO of the Greater Irvine Chamber.
Well, hello, folks. Welcome to the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insight Podcast. I'm Dave Coffaro. I am your host. And today, my special guest is Francisco Molina. He is Senior Industrial Designer with Invento Design. And Francisco specializes in working with small to mid-sized companies and bringing a new product idea to life. So he takes the business's product idea, develops a prototype, identifies the potential product manufacturers, and then helps the company get their product launched. So, Francisco, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Dave, and thank you for having me here.
I want to start off with asking you to share a little bit about your background and what led you to the kind of work that you're doing today.
Of course, as you already mentioned, I am an industrial designer. I'm originally from Colombia. I live in Florida for around 17 years, and my first experience in industrial design was by working with a company that used to do product development in for Home Depot, and I worked for there 7 years. And then I move up on creating my own business with my partner. The company is Prototype House. And a little bit about me is that now that I have that understanding on how a company works, uh, working as an industrial designer for a company, but I also the experience of working with other people with small businesses is a big difference, and I think that is something that right now I'm exploring with Invento Design on giving to those small businesses the chance to have their own R&D in house.
And that seems like something really important in the small business community in particular. And I think folks know, but here in Irvine, most of our businesses, 72% of our companies are 4 people or fewer. So they're small companies. And across our county, it's even a higher percentage. It's like 97% across the county are 4 people or fewer. So these are companies that don't have their own in-house research and development person or people. And a lot of small business owners have a new product idea, Francisco, but they aren't sure where to start. What's the very first step that they should take before investing serious time or money into a new product?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a misconception that small businesses, but also entrepreneurs, that they are thinking on opening their business because they want to create either their own product. They have this misconception that they think that only big and huge companies can make it. The reality is that it's easier than what you think, and the only thing that you need to know is understanding the problem, a problem that any other product is not solving in the moment. So my advice to those entrepreneurs and small companies is that you first need to identify those problems, why the competition is not solving them, learn how people are trying to fix those problems, and then the best thing that you can do is just test it. Do your now you can think about the solution, and that's where Invento Design can help these companies to have that first interaction with the idea, embodying in the idea into something that is physical and that can be shown to other people and validate if it's something that they want to proceed developing or not.
So something you just said, Francisco, really resonates, and that's define the problem and understand the competitive environment. And my perspective is the small business people are really the best ones to do that because they're so close to the customers. They're so close to where there's a need or there's an issue or there's a concern. So the small business person is really the perfect place for product definition, product description. But I also know that not every idea is ready to be a product. So how do you help your clients decide on whether an idea is truly viable in the marketplace or not?
That's a great question. So, and you mentioned something very important. Yes, small businesses, they are more connected with the customer, and therefore they know their needs, right? So, for example, um, and I can tell you an example of a client later, but they are more connected to the end user, and that's how they know what things they can change. The first thing that you want to do is have a benchmark, and that is, okay, what is my competitor doing, and therefore I need to know what their product, what limitations that product is having, and understand, not only from the user experience aspect, but also what materials are they doing using, what colors they are using, what technology they're using, so that now you can have an education on how your competitor is solving the problem, and now how you can add that extra value to make it better.
Yeah, so that true market analysis, what's the need? What are the competitors doing? How do I differentiate myself? I think all those things are really important. And and I know that sometimes small business people don't go all the way through that analysis. I was talking to somebody who has a newer company and they've really got an interesting offering. It's a software product. And so we talked about it. And when we were talking about the question of who's your target customer, he wasn't terribly clear on that. And then I get to the next question, which is, and how much are they willing to pay for this?
Right.
And so I think your point on the benchmarks, understanding all the details, and then how you're going to differentiate. Are you going to have something that's faster, less expensive, whatever? So you understand how you're going to position yourself. Now, one of the things I learned, Francisco, is that you
Mhm.
specialize in prototyping. Would you walk us through what a prototype is and why it's so critical for small businesses before they go to market with something new?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me be a little bit philosophical here. An idea is an abstract. It's something that is in your mind, and only you can know what it is. You can try to describe it with words, right? If you're good at drawing, you can draw it and show it to someone else. But there's always a filter, right? You are not going to be really good with the words to describe that idea. Maybe it's very specific, and the vocabulary is not good enough. The same thing with drawing, right? Maybe you're not a good sketcher, and that idea is losing some of that communication between that transition. A prototype is the manifestation of that physical world of an idea into something that you can touch, you can see, you can test it. And that's why prototypes are so valuable for, not only in product design, but also you can see this in other applications of science and technology, right? So the prototype helps you to not only understand the physical qualities of that idea, but also what mechanisms are you using to solve that problem, uh, and all the technical aspects. But another layer or dimension on this communication is also the aesthetics. You can have a really nice functional product, let's say a computer or anything that is an accessory like a sunglasses, right? But you need to connect with that person also in the emotional level. What is that design inspiring? Is that design inspiring something that is of a good quality, or maybe it's something that is rough, or it all depends now with the brand that you're trying to communicate, right? So I think that the bottom line is that prototypes are that proof of concept that helps to understand the product and also to validate it.
When people are going through that and they actually see that physical manifestation of their idea, do you find that that leads to different refinements once they see it and say, Nah, that's not quite what I thought. Can you tweak this or adjust that? Do
Oh,
you see
yes,
that?
yes, yes, absolutely. So just to give you an example, um, so most ideas also have some emotional attachment because, of course, it's considered like your baby, right? It's something that you thought, something that you're believing in too, and now is for the first time you see this 3D print, you have it in your hands, but maybe it's not what you were thinking in the beginning. Maybe the problem could be solved in a different way, and that's okay. Is good to have those points of validations where you can have new information, new data that can tells you, okay, there were some perspectives that I was not seeing in this problem, but now I can see them, and therefore I can propose a better idea, ideas to it. So it's is that evolution aspect that gives you the property, the ability to transform and keep making that idea better.
So it's sort of like a continuous improvement thing is what it sounds like.
Yes. And if you can see, and even if you launch already the product, there's always better ways to continue that solution. And you see this a lot in the car industry. Uh, Cars, I mean, you see new models every 3 5 years, and that's because evolution is part of this business, right? Not only from the functional part but also on the aesthetics. Trends are changing every time, so something that was considered beautiful or attractive 10 years ago now is completely it, it will not serve the same taste, right? And you also see that in cultures. Some products are different from one market to another because people perceive them in different ways. So the beauty of designing and having your project product materialize into the tangible or physical world is that also allows you to change into what could be better.
And so that evolution to align with customers' tastes is so important for every business, which leads to the question, what are some of the common mistakes that you see businesses make early in their product development journey?
Yes. So you have to understand that in the process, so you start with the idea, you start analyzing what the problems of the competitors and all that, right? And when and when you continue with the solution, and let's say that you make a prototype. uh you started with some ideas, concept sketches. They evolved into a 3D cut modeling so that you can see it in your computer, you can see in the screen, and have like a little bit of that perception, but still it's something that you cannot touch yet. And then you go into the prototyping, and now you are validating, you're being more objective. One of the biggest problems that I have seen in some clients is that they get too attached emotionally to that original idea. And like most of things that are in the business, there are things that you just cannot follow your emotions. You have to follow what uh, the objective results are giving you. So some clients, for example, they will see that they can improve something. Let's say ergonomics. They're creating something that they can have in their hands, a tool, right? But they are basing the ergonomics of that tool because they are using it with their own hands. But maybe their hands are not the average hands. Maybe someone with bigger hands is going to use that product, and things like this is where you have to disattach to your original um, um, engagement to the product. So my advice to clients is You have to let the product, the results, dictate the solutions, not what you think is the best thing.
That reminds me of the story of the BlackBerry, right? If you saw the movie about kind of the evolution of that, and the company got so attached to what they liked, not what the customers would like, and they
Yep.
kind of missed the market, and kind of know how that story ended. For a lot of business owners, and especially those of us that maybe the business is in its early days, they're just getting going, there's concern about costs and investments. How can a company with limited resources approach product design in a way that's going to be smart and lean and affordable for them?
Yes. And I think, like any other business, product development is all about communication and the feedback that you get from the communication. So it's not a point A to point B journey. It's a point A to B, C, and sometimes you have to go back to B, and therefore. So the best thing that I can advise entrepreneurs and small business that have an idea is do it by stages, little by little. You don't need to go from one idea, one concept, all the way to production, where is the most expensive aspect on this journey. So in order to avoid that, you go little by little. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to communicate, you want to visualize that idea. So you have an idea, you hire Invento Design or any product development company that can give you the tools to have some 3D CAD renderings. So those are like what you see on in the movies, the CGI, um, where you have a 3D modeling and now you can see it, but also you can show it to someone else. So let's say you have an idea, but you don't know if it's good enough. So the first thing that you do is you show it to someone else. You show it to your family, to your friends, see what they think about it. If it's something that they relate to the same product or solution that you are proposing, um, and then you can proceed with a 3D print. So just to let you know, Dave, 3D prints are very cheap nowadays. You can 3D print anything, and there's different locations where you can do this, sometimes for free. So my advice is do small steps. First, communicate, be visual, show your idea. Then you validate, and this validation could be with a prototype, but also not only validating the function of the prototype, but also if this product is a good business to start with. So one example is if you see like commercials of new products, um, you don't need to have a production piece to show to test it. If you see most of the car advertising, when you see it in social media or in the TV, those are renderings. Those are CGI models. So if the big companies are doing it, why should a small business not do it? So uh, you can do that. Uh, the validation is going to tell you if this is a product that is worth to continue out to the production, because now you're gonna have real data. You can put it on Facebook, you can put some ads on social media and see what traction is that advertising taking off. But there's different ways that you can do that. But just to resume everything, it's all about communication and doing it stage by stage.
I heard communicate, validate, repeat, one step at a time, which is
Yes,
a terrific message. So, Francisco, we got time for one more question. And the question is this:
sure.
for business owners that are listening right now, and they might have a sketch out of an idea in their notebook or just a thought they've been working on, What's one practical step that they can take this week to move closer to turning their idea into a real product?
So my first advice is don't keep it secret. You show this to, of course, people that you know, people that you can trust, but you have to communicate if this idea is good or not. You think it's good, but maybe the overall or the market will not consider such. Uh, so that will be the first thing. Uh, the other part is just remember every every big company that we see now in the stock market or in Wall Street, they started from something small. Apple started from a garage. All these companies started with one idea. It's all about you have to trust your gut. You have to trust that you have something. Then you have to validate, right? It's not just about thinking that you have a, a, a good idea or not. It's also to validate it and keep going with that process. Um, just I want to let everybody know we are the human the human beings are creatives by nature, and we're always looking for creative ways to make things better. Um, and I think that is something that everybody has, and Invento Design can help that entrepreneur, that small business to get from those small stages, visualization, validation, and then launching.
Terrific way to wrap this up. And I love what you said. Every business, every product, it all started with an idea. So, entrepreneurs out there, you heard the methodology, you heard the lessons. This is your opportunity to go and build something new and meaningful and impactful. Francisco Molina, thank you so much for being our guest today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave, for having me.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, folks.
Thank you for joining us for the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insights podcast. To stay informed about upcoming podcasts and other important business news, please subscribe to our channel or check the Greater Irvine Chamber website.